I joined the Navy in September 6, 1940.
And what rank were you?
I was a seaman, first class, and I went to Pearl Harbor and got on the USS Chicago. We went out to sea with the carriers. The carriers were at sea when the Pearl Harbor destruction. We brought the carriers back on December 8th and saw all the destruction in Pearl Harbor. The harbor was covered in oil, the Arizona was still burning, and it was a very disastrous feeling that our whole fleet had been destroyed. Before that, we always thought that we were the heaviest, mightiest battle ships in the United States Navy. But after you saw the destruction, it was very demoralizing. We left Pearl Harbor and went and joined up with the Australian Navy, and the New Zealand Navy. And we went to Guadalcanal for the landing of the Marines, the 1st Division Marines, which was a turning point that the United States was going to try to get a foothold to fight back for the war. We landed in Guadalcanal, and it was around 42, 43. When they bombarded the island early in the morning, I could hear the shell fire. We were right close to the beach. They landed the Marines, and everything looked good. There was no resistance on the island. But that afternoon, the Japanese sent down a group of big bombers, Betty bombers, and they continued on into the afternoon, and we were told that there would be another force coming down that evening. Surprising to everybody, a plane flew over our ships and dropped a flare. Everybody thought it was a message from the admiral, but it was the Japanese lighting up the harbor. Unbelievably, the Japanese fleet went through our security, 2 destroyers that were patrolling the entrance of the harbor. They came right through. They fired on an Australian cruiser, USS Canberra, and they hit their plane, and it set the ship on fire. And then the Japanese concentrated fire on the Australian cruiser. We, at that moment, received a torpedo in our port bow, knocking out our chain locker. We limped out of the zone, and looking back, it was pitch black night, pitch black. You couldn't see anything but the shell fires back and forth. And the next day, we lost the Astoria, the Quincy, and 5 of our heavy cruisers were destroyed. It was one of the biggest defeats in the beginning of the war. And I was on a 5-inch starboard battery, and we had no targets because being torpedoed, we were disabled. We were repaired, we limped back to Australia, and they repaired my ship temporarily, and we went back to Mare Island, California. They put a new bow on the USS Chicago, and we took another group of ships back to Guadalcanal. There again, the Japanese had a technique. When we shot down a bomber, these were big Betty bombers, when the bomber hit the water, we were silhouetted, and consequently the torpedoes were concentrating on the biggest ship in the flotilla, which was my ship. We took on 4 torpedoes. The next day, they came back with their bombers again, and we took 4 more torpedoes. We were trying to be tugged. They were towing our ship, but being that we took on so much water, the ship started to sink, and they gave the command to abandon ship. I was a talker on the telephone on the bridge at that time, and the lead from the telephone is not plugged in like in your home, it's screwed in. So I had a life jacket on over the wiring, and I was trying to get loose after the command, and I was pulling on it, and lucky I was able to break loose the cord, and I went to the stern of the ship and stepped off and swam to a tugboat that was in the group of ships, and that's how I survived. Yeah, I was going on 20 years old at that time.
Must have been scary being so young and having to witness so much.
It's surprising when you're busy, like in the battle, you're not scared. After the battle, when things slow down, then the fear sets in afterwards. Yeah.
The adrenaline.
Yeah, I've seen men fear at loading a gun and freeze, and we had to move them aside, but most of the fellas, the fear sets in after.
Did you have a lot of friends in Pearl Harbor when it got bombed? Did you know anybody?
No, most of your friends are on the ship that you were attached to. Yeah.
And when your ship got bombed, did most of your friends make it out?
No, we lost everybody in the engine crew, most of the engine crew down below, torpedoes.
Right.
Yeah. We lost some men on the top side. One was a chief petty officer, and he was running to his station, and he got shrapnel and killed him. Yeah, yeah. The excitement at the time. There was a time when we had a doctor come around the ship, and he said, if the wounded pile up around the gun, so you can't train the gun left or right, throw the men over the side, the dead over the side. It was a shocking thing to hear. And it was one night when we were in engagement, and a shell hit the mast, and a shrapnel came down, hit this one sailor on the shoulder, and he fell under the gun. And we said to the gun captain, we can't turn the gun. Buddy Hayes is under the gun. And this gun cat was kind of a comedian anyway. He said, throw him over the side. And the guy came out from under the gun, and he gave us all hollered at us and swore at us. What kind of friends have I got? Throw me over the side. He was just more scared than anything. But that's just one story of many.
And why do you keep coming back to Hawaii?
My daughter lives here on Oahu, and I always like to look out and see where my ship was anchored. All ships had a certain position in the harbor. It's just part of my life to come back.
Brings back a lot of memories.
Oh, always, sure, memories.
Does it feel like a long time has passed since then, or when you come back here, does it feel like it hasn't been that long?
It's surprising to hear 69 years. It's surprising. I'm 88 years old. Yeah, so it is surprising. But there's a lot of memories of being here in peacetime, and then when the war started. Yeah, we used to go from Pearl Harbor on an old Cadillac taxi cab for 50 cents into Honolulu. That was liberty. all you saw in town was white hats. The Navy was stationed here at the beginning of 1941. This was a 14th Front Naval Headquarters. Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very
I hope
much.
you have a very good day, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.